Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's dive into this a little bit. I mean, there has been a lot of thoughts in the Ethereum community of the direction, of the leadership. They've been upset that maybe it's been a little too not competitive enough, not aggressive enough. What are your thoughts on the situation right now?
Yeah, I think that's probably the right way to frame it, that there's a lot of concern in the Ethereum community about whether the Ethereum Foundation is doing enough with respect to advocacy and education and really talking and explaining what Ethereum is to the broader community. I think if you ask the average investor outside of the crypto bubble, just the normal person kind of who follows the markets, you ask them what the difference between Bitcoin and Ether is, I think 9 out of 10 times they wouldn't know what the difference is. They would probably tell you that they're both tokens. One is the biggest one is the second biggest. That's pretty much it. There is a complete absence of understanding and knowledge that Ethereum is a productive asset, that there is a whole universe of applications being built in DeFi and in other areas on Ethereum. And I think it is the Ethereum Foundation's job to go out there and educate people about this, and I frankly think they haven't been doing enough.
That's interesting because Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, he came out and said, I control the board of the Ethereum Foundation and I like the leadership, so I'm not going to change it. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know that he, I don't pretend to speak for him, but I don't know that he quite said that. I think what he was frustrated with was that there were some people in the broader DeFi community that were just throwing a lot of vitriol out there and asking for leadership changes. And I think his exact words were like, look, you're making my job hard. I'm trying to figure out what the right thing to do is for the long-term success of Ethereum, and just throwing shit at the ETH Foundation, calling for the leader of the ETH to resign. It just was not a productive. And
he said that he controls the Ethereum board until have a
yeah, that's right. He did say that. But,
until they have a real board.
Right. Yeah, that's true. He does have.
But do you think it's really his job to be sort of managing Ethereum? I mean, it's a decentralized protocol. I mean, it's not it's not Coca-Cola. So is it really Vitalik Buterin's job to be like CEO of Ethereum like that?
Well, it's hard to say what his job is. I think every founder, in a sense, finds their own kind of universe, their own niche within their company, and then supplements themselves with pieces that they're maybe not as effective at. And to some extent, I mean, I think he's done that. He's brought in a lot of folks on the Ethereum Foundation that have helped him out and continue to do so. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I do think that EF could and should be doing more with respect to advocacy and education.
Do you think this really all just comes back to the price action of ETH, the sluggish performance compared to other assets like Solana or Bitcoin?
Well, look, if you look at, let's say, ETH and BTC, the correlation between those assets is 0.9 on any given day. I mean, they're still both speculative assets that move kind of together. ETH has underperformed BTC, but like we've seen that in the past, it kind of goes up and down. Really, it's a function of the macro environment. I think it's easy to place blame and complain, about this or that, but the reality is these are still pretty speculative assets.
But I would say with Bitcoin and Solana, they've hit all-time highs in this cycle. Ethereum kind of stalled at 2,500, far from its all-time high.
It hit 4,000.
Not this cycle. The 2,500.
No, it did. It hit 4,000. It has. I mean, look, it's underperformed.
It's underperformed.
I'll put Solana in a different category because that is just.
But I'll say this, okay? But don't we want price stability? So maybe if it's not having this, gargantuan surge in price, and it's found, I suppose, a stabilizing support level, is that a good thing? But people are concerned that the L2s are extracting all the value from the transaction fees and whatnot. And so maybe you could weigh on your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all. I think the L2s are good for Ethereum in the sense that you now have dozens of different teams with their own funding, with their own BD teams that are out there advocating directly or indirectly for Ethereum. I think that's a huge positive. I think if Solana were to have the choice of Coinbase building on them versus on building an L2 on Ethereum, I think it would be pretty obvious what choice they would like to make, along with Kraken, along with lots of other folks that are building. So I really think that the whole meme around L2s being extractive to the Ethereum one is just complete bullshit. If I can say that.
You can say that.
So I don't buy that at all. I think the price action has been due to a lot of FUD and legitimate concerns around Ethereum. I think that's why the price is down. And there was, I think, fear that Solana was going to, race ahead and become more competitive.
So you're participating in a panel here at Consensus called Ethereum. Where do we go from here? So maybe you can answer that question. Give us a little preview of your thoughts.
Yeah, so I actually already did that one.
Okay.
That was yesterday. We talked about a lot of different things, a lot of stuff that we're talking about here. I think, look, the most important thing is to focus on the long term. It's easy to get caught up in what the price is doing today or tomorrow. In the end, I think it was Benjamin Graham that said that in the short term, the market is a voting machine. In the long term, it's a weighing machine.
Wow.
And so I think if you focus on 3 years from now, 5 years from now, building a really great product and having hundreds of large projects that have hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue is what's going to lead to the
Heads
success
down,
of
keep
Ethereum.
building. Mike, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks very much.
All right, that was EtherFi CEO Mike Silagadze.